what's up guys, how's it going? My name is Walter, and in today's video I'm going to be blacking out the orange and red side markers along with these red markers that are on the rear bumper. Now in my opinion, I feel like they're going to make the car look a lot more better. I feel like with the lights being smoked out, it's definitely going to blend in a lot more rather than having orange and red hints. Now before I go ahead and get started, I do want to mention that I did just wash my car just to make sure that the side markers are all nice and clean and they're not all dirty or have any debris on them, just to make sure that nothing gets trapped under the vinyl. Now for the vinyl that I went with a pretty dark one. I really wanted to make sure that you can't really see any of the red or orange hint through the vinyl. And I'll leave the vinyl that I use in the video down below in the description, along with some of the tools I got off Amazon. In total, everything cost me under $20, so this is super affordable for anyone that wants to do it themselves, and it's a super easy process. You can do it at home, shouldn't take you that long. And for those of you who are curious, I went with the full piece of vinyl, and I prefer just to cut it myself rather than doing like a pre-cut set. And the reason for that is I've heard people mention that on some of their pre-cuts you can still see some orange, like it doesn't fully wrap around the light, which I honestly didn't really want to deal with. I didn't want anyone to see any of this orange through the vinyl. So in my opinion, I felt like I was just better off just buying the whole piece of vinyl, laying it over, trimming it through this gap right here, just to make sure any orange doesn't get through. Now this is pretty much everything that you need. All this right here actually came in a set off Amazon. Then I got a spray bottle just because I didn't have one. The vinyl itself, and that's pretty much it. In the spray bottle that I have is just literally a droplet of some car shampoo. All right, now the first thing that you're gonna wanna do before we go ahead and start laying down the vinyl is you're gonna wanna grab some rubbing alcohol just to go ahead and clean the side marker, just to double check and make sure that even though it did get a wash, we really wanna make sure that there's no like leftover debris or anything like that that'll get stuck under the vinyl. All right. So now that we're officially ready to start laying down the vinyl, what you're just gonna go ahead and do is kind of lay it out a little bit. It doesn't have to be exact, and just kind of cut a piece that's gonna give you enough coverage for the whole side marker. Now this is enough vinyl for that one side marker. You want to give yourself a little bit of room just in case you do need to move it or you mess up, and then just go ahead and cut it. So I went ahead and cut down a piece of the vinyl. I'm gonna start removing the vinyl from the little plastic sheet. I'm gonna grab my soapy water and just start to spray it a little bit. Now I'm just gonna lay down a piece of vinyl right here on the car just so it holds. As I start to remove the back piece at the same time, I'm just gonna start pressing it with my fingers just to start laying it down. Now for the other ones, I'm not gonna cut such a big piece of vinyl, but I'm just gonna kind of guide it with my finger. Now I'm gonna grab my squeegee and just start pressing it in. And the good thing about water is that if you mess up, or for example, I didn't really realize it, but there's like kind of some scratches right here on the vinyl, you can just go ahead and move it a lot more easier than if it were to be dry. And now that the vinyl is mostly laid, I'm just gonna go ahead and start cutting the actual vinyl. So for this, I'm gonna pull back the vinyl just a bit. And when you lay it down with the squeegee, you're gonna see the gapping between the actual bumper and the light. And that's where you're gonna cut in between. So you just wanna be careful, take your time on this, because you don't wanna be scratching your bumper or the actual light itself. So like I said, you can pull it back a little bit. I know I cut myself a really big piece of vinyl here, but you just wanna make sure that you're cutting in that gap. You don't wanna be forcing the knife, it should just be gliding on its own. If you feel resistance or something, stop, go ahead and double check where you're cutting. Now as you guys can see, I'm having some trouble sticking the actual vinyl itself. It is pretty cold today, so I went ahead and grabbed my sister's hair dryer. If you have a heat gun, use that. and just heat it up a little bit. Now I'm not fully done, but it's already looking really nice. I still need to hit it with a little bit more heat. Like I said, take your time, but with a little bit more heat, I just need to take away a couple more bubbles, and this side marker should be done. Now this one's pretty much done. I didn't mess up. I did go too hard with the squeegee, as you guys can see right here. But that was my bad. It wasn't the film's fault or anything like that. I just kind of dug in an angle too hard. But, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. Now to move on to the other side. I feel like this looks so much better than this. Now for the rear bumper markers, you're just going to want to be more careful because the gapping right here is a little bit more tighter, and you don't want to accidentally cut the light or your actual diffuser. And this is why I feel like buying a full roll is better than buying those pre-cuts. Just in case you do mess up, you still have a bunch of roll to work with. Now here's a little comparison between it being blacked out and it not. And one thing that I've been noticing is I've been having to use a lot of heat. Not so much heat, it just takes a lot longer for this blow dryer to heat up versus like an actual heat gun. It'll probably heat up the film a lot more faster rather than just sitting here doing a lot of passes, because this is an old one that we use like to dry the dogs. And here's a before shot. Now here's the after. So I just finished up this side, and as you guys can see, sunlight still can come through, but it looks a lot better in my opinion. Now I turn the lights on just so you guys can also see the front as well. Now here's the rear all done. I did kind of mess up on these two. I'm probably gonna end up redoing them, not today but another time. But yeah guys, that's pretty much gonna be it for today's video. It's a simple cosmetic upgrade you guys can do, and I feel like it goes a long way. Now all this car needs is actually a tint on the windows, and this thing will look even meaner. But thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully this video helps you guys out, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.